Hey, this is Gabi. We are talking about Dukkha, the way to end suffering, and it's a good one. Dukkha was one of those that I looked up in my research. I mean, it came up very quickly. If you do a Google search for Buddhism, very quickly in something you read, you'll find Dukkha. And Dukkha, Goenka defines it as misery. A lot of the articles on the internet define it as suffering, and I thought, well, easy. All right, clear, just definition, suffering, misery, cool. No. And what we find is when you think you know misery, when you think you know dukkha, throw it away. Throw away the definition and look further. Dukkha is the pain that exists in everything. In life, in birth, in death, in success, in jobs, in relationships, in love, in sex, in money, in dreams, in happiness, in everything. Dukkha is always there. It's that kind of like the yin-yang of even in your greatest joy, there is sorrow, there is dissatisfaction, there's fear that it won't be there anymore, there's instability, there's insecurity. Dukkha is everywhere. And what Buddha explains is that our job is to eradicate the roots of dukkha and to remove it from our life so that we don't have to suffer, regardless of what's happening around us, regardless if everyone we know and loves dies and we're dying and everyone's suffering. The idea is to be able to face dukkha without suffering. And we'll continue to look at how, because I remember there was a story in the Vipassana that Goenka talked about a woman who had lost, I think, her 3 sons and her husband and both of her parents in a very short period of time. And she went crazy and she was running in the streets naked, insane from misery and dukkha for losing everyone she loved in her world. And that she happened to come across a group doing Vipassana meditation with Buddha, and they told her to come sit down, and she sat for a moment, and then she realized suddenly she was naked and someone covered her with a shawl, and she learned Vipassana and she got out of it. So, hey, right? So, what I want to tell you about dukkha is Buddha explains that they're roots, and when you think that you've gotten to the root, you haven't. Dig deeper. The roots go deeper, and they go deeper, and they go deeper, and our job is to keep going in and in and in until we get the very, very, very finest tips of those roots and pull them out. And then we've alleviated dukkha. And something that I wrote from the lecture that I wanted to share with you. If you think that you have solved an issue, as a therapist, a lot of times people say, oh, I had issues with my mom, but I solved that. Or, I had issues of abandonment, solved that. I had issues of jealousy, check V. And when you think you've done something, if that name, that photo, that memory, still makes you clamp up in your throat, it still makes your chest or your solar plexus contract, then there's more to uproot. Do you think you're done? I'm trying to read these notes. It was so poetic when I said them. Can you look that person in the eye and not experience any pain? Can you talk about it and not swallow, feel any discomfort in your throat? Can you really deeply think about that person, that issue, and not clamp up anywhere in your body? Are you really done? Is there no more hurt? Is there no more hurt? Nothing else hurts about that? If you have, then carry on. But what I wrote around here is that many of us hold on to those things in the past and think that we're done, and we're not. And we're not. And I want to teach us to recognize that dukkha is still there. I know I talk in groups sometimes about painful things like being kicked out of the house or other things, and even when I say it, I go, oh, it's resolved, but I feel it. I feel the tightening. Okay, it's not, there's still suffering there. I like this. There's a song by Fun. They made the song, we are young, so let's set the world on fire. We can burn brighter than the sun tonight. Anyway, he has another song called Carry On. And it says, may the past be the sound of your feet upon the ground. Carry on. So I like that. So may that be the past. My feet upon the ground. That'd be cool. All right, it's so cool. I'm reading my lecture notes as I'm talking to you, so I'm like, wait a minute. So I'll stop now. read for a second what else I talked about in that lecture, so I can bring it to you in a more flowing manner. So the next video we will continue to talk about dukkha and what we can do to recognize our dukkha and heal ourselves from the suffering in our soul.